Gopidhanavallabha Girivardhari Yasodanandana Bradajanarandana Yamunati Rahavanachari Jayo Radhamadava Kunja Vihari Jayo Radhamadava Kunja Vihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Jayo Prabhupada Jayo Prabhupada Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Shri Harinam Sankirtan Ke, Srila Prabhupada Ke, Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Ke, Gaur Pramanandi. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Reading from Srimad Bhagavatam, 3rd canto, 11th chapter, calculation of time from the Atom, texts 15 and 16. 16 is on the board, so I'm just going to read 15. Yaksridja Shakti Murudoch Chavasayan Svashaktya Pungso Brahmaya Dividhavati Bhuta Bedha Kalakyaya Gunamayam Kratubir Vitanvangs Tasmai Balim Haratavatsara Panchakaya. Translation. O Vidura, the sun enlivens all living entities with his unlimited heat and light. He diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. And he enlarges the path of elevation to the heavenly kingdom. He thus moves in the firmament with great velocity, and therefore everyone should offer him respects once every 5 years with all ingredients of worship. Text number 16. Vidura Vacha. Vidura Vacha. Pitrideva Manushyanam. Pitrideva Manushyanam. Ayu Paramidam Smritam. Ayu Paramidam Smritam. Paresham Gatimat Chakshva. Paresham Gatimat Chakshva. Yesyu Kalpat Bahir Vidaha. Yesyu Kalpat Bahir Vidaha. Vidura Vacha. Pitrideva Manushyanam. Ayu Paramidam Smritam. Paresham Gatima Chakshva. Yesyu Kalpat Bahir Vidaha. Ladies. Pitrideva Manushyanam. Vidura Vacha. Vidura said, Pitri, the Pita planets, Deva, the heavenly planets, Manushyanam, and that of the human beings, Ayuhu, duration of life. Param, final. Idam, in their own measurement. Smritam, calculated. Paresham, of the superior living entities. Gatim, duration of life. Achakshva, kindly calculate. Ye, all those who. Syuhu, are. Kalpat, from the millennium. Bahi, outside. Vidaha, greatly learned. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki Jai. Vidura said, I now understand the life durations of the residents of the Pita planets and heavenly planets as well as that of the human beings. Now kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa. Purport. The partial dissolution of the universe that takes place at the end of Brahma's day does not affect all the planetary systems. The planets of highly learned living entities like the sages Sanaka and Brigu are not affected by the dissolutions of the millenniums. All the planets are of different types, and each is controlled by a different Kala Chakra, or schedule of eternal time. The time of the Earth planet is not applicable to other, more elevated planets. Therefore, Vidura herein inquires about the duration of life on other planets. Again, both verses. O Vidura, the sun enlivens all living entities with his unlimited heat and light. He diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. And he enlarges the path of elevation to the heavenly kingdom. He thus moves in the firmament with great velocity, and therefore everyone should offer him respects once every 5 years, with all ingredients of worship. Vidura said, I now understand the life duration of the residents of the Pita planets and heavenly planets as well as that of the human beings. Now kindly inform me of the durations of life of those greatly learned living entities who are beyond the range of a kalpa. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Jena Tasmai Sri Gurave Namaha Sri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kedamhayam Dadhati Swapadantikam Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasari Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Mukam karoti vachalam pangum langayate girim yat kripadamaham vande Sri Guru Dinataranam Paramananda Madhavam Sri Chaitanyeshwaram Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripasindubhyevacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha. Hare Krishna. So with the blessings of all the Vaishnavas and Vaishnavis, here in this section, Vidura is inquiring from Maitreya about time. Time is one of the 5 main topics in the Bhagavad Gita. How many of you are taking Bhakti Shastri? Raise your hands. Haribol, Bhakti Shastri Ki Jai. Bhakti Vaibhava, Haribol. Bhakti Vedanta, Haribol. Deity worship course? Anyone? Haribol. Any others? What are you doing here? You're not supposed to attend class, right? It's only for students. So there's a saying, don't let school interfere with your education. So Srila Prabhupada wanted us to hear the Bhagavatam every day. Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya. Nityam means all the time, it also means daily. So there are different times of time that are described here. One is linear time. Linear time is what we're most familiar with. Linear means it's got a beginning, it's got a middle and an end. Like this class, it's got a beginning, a middle and an end. And that's good news, right? So everything that has a beginning, it has to have an end. Then there is cyclical time. Cyclical time is something that occurs on regular intervals. For instance, give me an example. Seasons, yes. Some countries you have 4 seasons. In other countries you just have 2 seasons. Near the equator you just have hot and wet. So, but there are seasons, and they are cyclical. They appear regular, like the millennias. They're regular. And then there is eternal time, which is kind of hard for us to grasp because we're so conditioned by our linear time and our cyclical time that eternal time seems almost like a curse, right? Like when people ask you, so, okay, you took initiation, so how long are these vows going to last? Well, forever. How long are you going to chant Hare Krishna? Well, forever. So sometimes, because it's beyond our perception of our mind, because we're used to beginning, middle, and end, so we get frightened by the idea of eternity. But we get to that in a minute. So Vidura is saying here that he's very satisfied with Maitreya's answers, to explain to him about human beings and their sphere, about demigods and their spheres, and the Pitris, the ancestors and their sphere and their timeline. But now he would like to know about people who live longer than a kalpa. How long is a kalpa? Now this is going to come up in your exam, so you better take note of this. How long is a kalpa? 1,000 Divya Yugas or Chatur Yugas or Mahayugas or whatever you want to call them. So that's 1,000 times 4,320,000, which means 4,320,000,000 years. That's one day of Brahma. How long is his night? Very good. Very good. 5 points. So, and Brahma lives for 100 years, which for us is unimaginable, his lifespan. Now, we hear in today's verses, first of all, Hare Krishna, about the sun. The sun planet, Yachchakshuresha Savita Sakala Grahanam Raja Samasta Suramurti Rashesha Teja Yasyagyaya Brahmati Sambrita Kala Chakro Govindamadi Purusham Tamaham Bhajami. How many of you have worshipped the sun every 5 years? How many of you are doing that? You are? Really? Yeah, we worship every day. We're doing it every day, exactly. But we're not doing the ritualistic worship with all the ingredients for that worship. But we're recognizing the sun as one of the eyes of the Lord, and we're offering our respect and our gratitude to the sun. You don't know what you have till you miss it. If you ever spend a few months in Moscow or Beijing and you don't see the sun, then you know what I'm talking about. You'll be longing for those hot and humid and sweaty days of Mayapur or of the Caribbean. Because you can see that without sun, everything practically just sets into atrophy. Everything just kind of diminishes. The lifespan, the enthusiasm, the vitality, the humanity, everything just kind of reduces to a bare minimum. So, Maitreya says that the sun enlivens all living entities. Why? Because it is the source of unlimited heat and light. The sun is providing unlimited heat and light. And we take it for granted. You notice what happens when you don't pay your electricity bill? And all of a sudden nothing works anymore in your house? Have you had that experience? Huh? No? Or what if your phone battery dies and you were just about to book that flight or to order that visa or to make that transaction? Huh? Right? You have that experience. So we take things for granted because we're not really aware. Like the children, they're not really aware. Okay, where does food come from? Where does the house come from? Where does my clothes come from? Where does anything come from? So, but the Bhagavatam is helping us to become more aware. And there's a topic of the second verse, which we get to in a minute. It also says that it diminishes the duration of life of all living entities in order to release them from their illusion of material attachment. You ever had any material attachments? Yeah? Anyone? About 5 or 7 here? All the others are already signed off on that one? Huh? India is a good place to get rid of material attachments, right? Right? Because like it or not, everything will be taken away from you. Huh? It will just happen. Just by force of circumstances, by the force of time. All your possession will be reduced, diminished, and annihilated, including your body. So that is very kind because we're here because of our attachments. We're here in this world because we still claim this is mine. As long as we think this is mine, we got to stick around to enjoy, to collect, and to pay our dues. But as soon as we realize, I don't own anything, then, and we'll get to that in a minute, then we learn how to live on a different time scale. We're not anymore in the linear time or in the cyclical time that, hey, it's payday, you know, I need to collect, I need to go and pay my dues. But then we're actually entering Krishna's realm of eternal time. So the sun is very mercifully doing this task of liberating us from our attachments. All of a sudden you come and what was there before is not there anymore. You may have noticed, like I came back to Mayapur a few days ago and I went on my walk and I went by Giri Govardhan's garden and it looked like a jungle. And I knew Giri Govardhan Prabhu is not here anymore. I knew it just by looking at his garden. Why? Because it's a jungle now. So he moved. So time is unstoppable. And what else? The sun enlarges the path of elevation to the heavenly kingdom and thus moves in the firmament with great velocity. What is the velocity of the sun? This is all going to come in your exam, okay? So you better learn up on this stuff. For the others, it's just bonus, you know. Approximately, how fast? The sun travels around the earth once a day. What speed? Pundits, call a friend. Do you have any friends? Huh? 200 kilometers per second. Okay, that's Google Guru, right? All right, it gives you an indication. Pretty fast, 200 kilometers per second. But interestingly enough, everybody will say, where is the sun? Well, it's right above my head. Does it seem to be 200 kilometers per second to you? Not really, right? Except if you want to take a picture from the sunset. You ever tried that one? You want to take a picture from the sunset and boom, it's gone. Right? You have seen? All of a sudden it's gone. And therefore everyone should offer respects once every 5 years with all ingredients of worship. Now, by the grace of our acharyas, we have ways of how to worship the sun and all the planets and all the demigods and all living entities through the process of bhakti yoga. By chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. So we're not going to teach you all the upacharas or the way how to worship the sun every 5 years. But for instance, here, Vidura is asking the question. Vidura is Yamaraj. He's the Mahajan who is in charge of bringing everybody to their next destination, also known as the god of death. Now, if you don't like this dying business, how many here don't like this dying business, this getting old and dying business? Do you like that business? You look in the mirror and you go like, who's this? You know? People start treating you like a senior. I mean, initially it sounds interesting, right? But after a while it gets a little old. So, if you don't like this business, there's one way how you can avoid Yamaraj taking you away. How? Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Because Yamaraj is a devotee. So, when there is kirtan, Yamaraj joins the kirtan. And while he's in kirtan, he's not going to take you away, okay? So, if you keep on doing kirtan, you become deathless. How about that? Would you like that? 5 people said Haribol. All the others are looking forward to their next destination because they've worked hard to earn a better place somewhere in the food chain of the galaxy. But there's bad news in the Bhagavad Gita. Abrahma bhuvana loka punaravartinorjuna mamupetya tu kaunteya punarjanma navidyate. That whether you're on the top or on the bottom, all are places of suffering. Why? Because birth and death is inevitable. Brahma is in the second half of his life. And you know how that feels, right? Some of you? You know how that feels. From then on, it's all downhill. The race to the bottom. So, but for a devotee, that's not really frightening. Because for a devotee is on Krishna's timeline, on Krishna's time scale. Which means, Yugaitam nimeshena chakshusha pravishaitam shunyaitam jagat sarvam govinda virahena me. Now, what is a nimesh? 1/512th of a second, also known as a moment, right? A moment. Or as long as it takes to blink your eye. You just blinked your eye. That's a nimesh. Now, what does Chaitanya Mahaprabhu say? He says that if I feel that the Lord is absent for one nimesh, that moment is 12 years or more. It's like a yuga. It's intolerable. That's why the gopis said, this is not acceptable. This Brahma, he's done a lousy job. So if you're a manager, don't worry. It's normal that people will complain about what you did and what you didn't do. That's just normal. So that is not acceptable. Why? Because separation from Krishna is so strong that just the thought of not seeing Krishna is unacceptable. It's not an option. They rather die 1,000,000 deaths than be separated from Krishna's association, even for a moment. It's funny, I travel a bit, so wherever I arrive at the airport, and the people who pick me up, if they pick me up, I ask them, so how is things? And they say, we got to get rid of management. Have you ever heard of that one? Huh? Never, right? We have to get rid of management. Oh, and I say, who? They say, all of them. You got to get rid of all of them. So I say, okay, so you're going to do it, right? And they say, no, I'm not going to do it. But we have to get rid of management. That's always like the welcome. And just in case you plan on becoming a traveling preacher, you know, that's some of the scenarios you have to face. And then you have to explain to them, well, then who is going to manage? Who's going to do it? I remember in Switzerland, we did the Christmas or Prabhupada Marathon. And after the marathon, we were really excited, and we were really fired up, and we were really flying high, and we were so exuberant with energy that we thought that now is a good time to make a revolution and get rid of our temple president. And it became a yearly institution that ceremoniously we took out the guillotine, and there the head went off. But after a few years, nobody wanted to do the job anymore of being a temple president. And then we got a board. And you know what a board is, right? Huh? A camel is a horse that was designed by a committee or by a board. Huh? So, humor aside, we want to get onto Krishna's timeline. We want to be on Krishna's time. Are you on Krishna's time? Or on your own clock? Huh? Bhayam dvitiya biniveshatasyat ishadapitasya viparyo smriti. That fear arises when we see something or someone as separate from Krishna. Yesterday was amazing darshan. Today again, amazing darshan. But yesterday it came also with a little bit of anxiety of like, is there going to be a stampede? Like, am I going to get trampled here? I mean, it's a good day and a good place, right, to leave my body. But maybe not quite yet, right? I still have a few things I would like to experience before that. So, how to get on Krishna's time? Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is teaching us that through his own pastime, through his own intensity of his bhajan. 3 days ago, I asked my spiritual master, what is the greatest need in ISKCON right now? Would you like to know? 5 people want to know. He said, you're going to like the answer and you're not going to like the answer. He said, becoming Krishna conscious or pure devotional service is the greatest need right now in ISKCON. And he explained, so it sounds simplistic because we're so stuck. I am so stuck in my linear time. So much so that I have to watch the clock to know in which part of the linear time I am right now, because I'm out of touch with that time factor. So, just like to make it relatable, you have to give some context. When we hear of these big numbers with a lot of zeros, it's just beyond, right? Just like you hear that if you become a pure devotee and you go back to Krishna, 21 generations will be liberated. Now, how does that work? Who knows their great, I mean, how great was he? Grandfather. Who knows? Usually, if you know what your great-grandfather did and what his name was, you're doing pretty good. So it is explained that it is actually 7 generations in this life, and 7 generations in your previous life, and 7 generations in your previous life. So, for the last 3 lives, 7 generations will get liberated. Do you know the name and profession of your great-grandfather? It's rare nowadays. So Valmiki Muni, he was one of the original sages, but how did he become Valmiki? Valmiki means the one who is born from an anthill. How did he get born from an anthill? Valmiki, in his previous life, or in his previous episode, before he was known as Valmiki, he was a gunda. You know what a gunda is? It's a dacoit. It's a person who robs and kills people. That was his profession. So one time he was in the forest and he saw 7 sages. And they were very effulgent. And when he saw them, he became very attracted. And he went close to them. And they asked him, "Who are you? What do you do?" And he said, "I'm such and such. I'm a thief. I'm a robber. I'm a murderer. And yeah, I want to rob you." And they said, "Very well, but first please go to your family members and ask them if they're willing to share some of the impious reactions of what you're about to do." So he went, he asked, and to his great surprise, everyone said, "We like the money, but we don't want the karma." You heard that? We like the money, we don't want the karma. He was very surprised that what? I'm going to be stuck with all this bad karma by myself? The people I'm maintaining, they're not going to share in that? No. So he said, okay, I think I need a change of profession, and I need a change of vocation, a change of association, and I need a change of mindset. And one of the sages, he said, "You should chant Rama." And he said, "I can't do that. I can't do that. That's like something spiritual. That's like something holy. I can't do that." Have you ever met those people who say, "I can't touch this book because I ate non-veg or somebody in my family died"? You have met people like that, right? And then what do? You say, "It's okay, take it," right? So one of the sages said, "All right, fair enough. Chant Mara." Mara means death or dead body. So he thought, wow, that's a cool mantra. Huh? That's a mantra even the heavy metal and all those people, they will really be into, right? Maybe somebody can give an idea to some of these bands. Huh? And so he chanted Mara, 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 Mara. And as Prabhupada says in one of his purports, in one of the lectures to Chaitanya Charitamrita, that, there's a lot of Rama in there. Huh? And for 60,000 years, he chanted Rama. And it was such a long time that the ants had totally covered him. There was huge anthills all around him. After 60,000 years, he came out of the anthill as Valmiki, the one who was born from an anthill. And he was transformed. He's also the author of the authorized Ramayana and the guru of Lava and Kusha, the sons of Sita and Ram. So, 60,000 years sounds like a lot. If you live 100,000 years, 60,000, not such a big deal, right? We're here in Mayapur for a few months studying Prabhupada's books, and the mind says, how long is this going to last, right? How many more exams? How many more papers? How many more presentations? I have a friend who teaches guitar. He says, most people, they show up for 3 lessons, and after 3 lessons, they quit. Why? Because they realize this is work. This is not just being a rock star. This is actually work. And then they stop showing up. So, anything that we want to perfect, we have to put in a consistent effort. They once asked Srila Prabhupada, how long did it take you to perfect your japa? And Srila Prabhupada could have said, me and Krishna were like this. I'm from a great line of pure devotees, and I never forgot Krishna. All of this is true. Me and Krishna were throwing lunch bags around. All of this is true. But what did Prabhupada say? He said 40 years to perfect his japa. So, the more we absorb ourselves in the process of hearing and chanting, the process of Krishna consciousness, the more we will actually enter into Nitya Lila, into Krishna's pastime. Because then, whether you're in this body or in the next body, what is the difference? You read that the Pandavas went back home, back to Godhead in their self-same bodies. Now the mind goes, well, how is this possible, right? How is this possible? Well, this body is Krishna's energy. Would you agree? Bhumi rapo nalo vayu kamano buddhireva cha ahankara iti yang me bina prakriti rastada. Now, the example is given that if you take an iron rod and you put it into fire and you leave it there for long enough, what happens? Turns into fire. So in a similar way, if you engage this body, which is obviously out of gross and subtle material elements, you engage it in devotional service intensely for a long period of time, what happens? Your body becomes spiritualized. And some went back home, back to Godhead in that self-same body, but in general, there will be a change of body, which is not such a big deal. So, this is what we learn. So, Vidura is inquiring about sages who live longer than one kalpa, longer than 1,000 Mahayugas. What is their life? What is their mindset? What is their realization? What is their teachings? This is what we hear of in the Bhagavatam. This is breaking news. Not who won the election for the next 4 years, or who ended up in jail, maybe the same person, or who won the sports game. No, who actually elevated their consciousness so much so that they are practically on Krishna's timeline. That is what is interesting to the devotees. So, I was in Bucharest. That's the last story. We open up for questions and discussions after this. Romania. And it's a new congregation, all family people, all working jobs. But we had workshops every day and we went out to distribute books. So on Sunday we had a public program. One lady who got a book from me, she came 2 days later to the public program. And I just explained the main topics of the Bhagavad Gita. You know, Sambandha Gyan. You're not the body, you're not the mind, you're the soul, karma, etc. After the talk, she's around 30, she's a publicist working for publishers. She came to me and she said, my generation never had access to this type of information. How many of you learned about the soul in school? Yeah, because you went to Gurukul, right? Or you had devotee school. But for the others, for all the others, and I asked this in universities, philosophy class, how many of you learned about the soul? How many of you learned about karma, about reincarnation? No, not even there. Why? Because the force of time, which is diminishing everything. So time is inevitable. There's linear time, cyclical time, and eternal time. The more we engage in Krishna consciousness, Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya, all the time, or at least daily, the more we will be on Krishna's timeline. And for Krishna, everything is possible. When he performed his Rasa Leela, how long did it last? That one night. One day of Brahma, which is 1,000 of those 4 yugas, which is 4,320,000,000. How is that possible? You ask Krishna. It's inconceivable. Because Krishna can expand time, and he can also do the opposite and shrink it. That is all in his power. Because Krishna is omnipotent, Krishna is omniscient, but Krishna is most of all kind, all loving, and all attractive. So we're very fortunate that by the grace of Srila Prabhupada and all his dedicated followers, we have this information. And we're not stuck with the mundane news, because otherwise that would be bad news. Did you ever do the mistake and you check the news? It's depressing, isn't it? Isn't it? Admit it. It's depressing. I asked my spiritual master 3 days ago, you know, they're changing the laws in ISKCON every year, new laws, new laws, new laws, even on the same topic. What do you think about it? He said, I don't think about it. And then he laughed, and we both laughed. And I was happy with the answer. So if something is beyond our scope to affect or to influence, don't stress it. Don't stress it. You still have to do your homework. You still got to show up for class. You still got to chant your rounds. But the more we actually hear about Krishna and Krishna's associates, like the Kumaras, who we hear quite a lot about in the third canto, and Bhrigu Muni, the more we become inspired, not just to go to a higher planet where I can avoid the short pralayas, the short annihilations, but where we can actually come on Krishna's timeline. And that's really exciting. How about that as an aim, as a mission in life? Huh? Not getting through the day, getting through the week, getting through life, but how about I want to get onto Krishna's timeline? That would be amazing, right? Then, because Krishna, he's performing his pastimes as we speak. Every moment is happening. So, if we are sick and tired of the hypocrisy, sick and tired of the corruption, sick and tired of wasting our time, sick and tired of barking up the wrong trees and picking the wrong fights, let's get on Krishna's timeline by chanting Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And Krishna bless all those security guards who have to do crowd control. And he also bless all the managers who have to do the heavy lifting of dealing with administration and bureaucracy. And the teachers who have to deal with students. Can you imagine? So we're very grateful to be here in Sridham Mayapur, to have this opportunity to experience what it means, just for some time, to be on Krishna's timeline. And then hopefully we can take that mood. And Srila Prabhupada exemplified avyartha kalatvam, not to waste any time. You want to have more time for study? You feel your day doesn't have enough hours? Do you ever feel like that? Yeah? Okay, here is your extra 2 hours. You set your alarm clock 2 hours earlier. Voila, free gift. 2 hours, just for you. That's what managers have to do, right? If you don't chant your rounds before Mangal Arati, good luck. That's what parents have to do. If you don't chant your rounds before your kids wake up, good luck. It's going to be a rough day. So, do yourself a favor and take advantage of Sri Mayapur Dham. There is no obstruction. Have you noticed? You can get up as early as you like. There's no one to tell you not to do that. In fact, some people are willing to keep you up all night. So, take full advantage of this process and see how to communicate this message of there is eternal time and you can experience it. When I ask people, did you know that you're amazing? You know that verse in the Gita? Huh? The soul is amazing, yeah. The soul is amazing. Krishna says it 3 times. Why? Because we're eternal, we're wise, and we're blissful. We're parts and parcels of Krishna. This is big news for people in the world. If you can just communicate this message to people, they will be spellbound. They'll be mesmerized. They'll ask you, how do you do this? How does this work? How can I be part of this? How can I get on Krishna's timeline? Well, you start here. Here's the entry ticket. Here, take this. Thank you for your kind attention. We have some time for questions, comments. Rameshwar Prabhu.
I come from the land of Mlecha, Yavana, and miscreants, and I come from a line of such forefathers, meat eaters.
So that's the planet where they all are.
So
is that the place where you want to go?
I'm just trying to understand what it means that this is a higher, it's like higher realm, the planet of the Petries.
Yes.
Every Petri, every forefather that any one of us ever had?
No.
Have you read what it means?
Only those who are qualified.
Aha.
So that means you have to follow Dharma. You have to follow the process. It's like if you want to be in one of them posh gated communities, it's not that you can just waltz in there and voila, there you are. They're going to vet you. They're going to see whether you have what it takes to be there.
So
and it's not just 15,000 a table, you know. It's a little more than that. You have to follow pious life, no sin, do all the rituals, and then you go to that place.
Okay, so
but karma kanda.
The quote about if someone becomes a pure, genuine, pure devotee, they're in Krishna Loka, 21 generations of everyone or only those who are qualified?
Everyone.
So
7 of your ancestors.
If I have family,
and in your previous life, 7 of your ancestors, and in the previous life,
despite their sinful acts, their eating habits.
Presidential pardon.
I just wanted to bring that out. Yes, that's how I understood it too.
Thank you.
Krishna. Thank you.
Other comments or questions, Mataji, and then Prabhu.
It was when a temple president, I was cutting college classes to find him on Harinam every day instead of going to college. And I couldn't break my attachment to family, extreme affection. I said, they're going to die if I join the Hare Krishnas. And then he quoted that to me. And instantly I felt, right at that moment, I've been liberated from all my family attachments. Because if I just do this, look what I've done for them. Whether they know it or appreciate it, it doesn't matter.
Thank you.
That's how I became a devotee.
Haribol.
Hare Krishna.
Devarshi Bhutapta Nirinam Pitirinam Nakinkaronayam Nrinijarajan Sarvatmana Yaksharanam Sharanyam Kato Mukundam Pariritya Kartam. This will, if you take full shelter of the process of devotional service, this will absolve you of all your debts to all these entities. I just met Rajarshi in Trinidad, and when he was 17, he found a Bhagavad Gita in the trash, and he read it, and he went to the temple, and he stayed, much to the dislike of his parents. So his family came to repossess him, to bring him back, and they were very upset. But his father liked it, and his father also stayed. And then it was 2 against the rest of the tribe, so they stuck it out. Yes, Mataji.
Prabhu, your class was very crystal clear, very nice explanation. There should be no questions from your class, but I need little more explanation about how to get in, you said, to Krishna's timeline. That keep chanting, keep hearing Bhagavatam, but I didn't understand how it will feel like when you become a part of Krishna's timeline, because I only know how it feels like for me with linear time, where you said we feel,
yes,
I had extra time,
yes,
for japa,
yes,
or reading.
To have the mindset, Krishna, I'm yours, and you are mine, and whatever you want me to do, I'm very happy to do that. I have exceeded my options. I ticked off all the boxes. There's no more to-do lists, no more bucket lists. I'll still do what I have to do. I'll still do my duties, but I belong to you, and you are mine. And Krishna is happy to be a prisoner in the heart of his devotees, to be bound out by the ropes of love of his devotee. That union is so strong that no one can get in between that. And that is the meditation, that is the mood of Vidura, And that is the attitude in which he inquires, understanding that a lot of the people who are going to hear this, excuse me, they're not there yet, so they will need to know something about time and creation and the universe and how things work in order to build up their faith and their adhikar, their attitude, so they can appreciate Krishna's pastimes. So that we give people as much as they can appreciate, and we don't give them too much. So it says, if you feel ecstasy in your heart, don't even reveal it to your own mind. Why? Because our mind will profane it. Have you ever seen that tendency? That you have a moment of happiness, and then the phone comes out, and the selfie, and it just killed that moment of actual spiritual experience, or of actual happiness. It just vanished. So, it is possible.
I also wanted, what is the meaning of profane? Mind just profanes.
Profane means it becomes mundane. It becomes ordinary. It becomes something that, you know, you'll talk about, and that you have to, you know, prove or argue. Spiritual life is not something profane. It's something inherent, something natural. Nityasira Krishna Bhakti Sadhya Kabunoi Shravanadi Shuddhachitta Koryo Doi. It's like the sun comes up. It's not something profane. It's something self-illuminated, something natural. Yes, for the close.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, thank you for the enlivening class. So you eloquently describe about most temple situation while you're traveling. So do you have an open advice to offer in terms of that? You explain about management and the way it's going at this present time.
Yes, that as long as we're in the modes of ignorance and passion, that means we're Shudras. We like to lament. That means we have to criticize, we have to argue, we have to lament. As soon as we raise in our consciousness to more mode of goodness, we can actually appreciate others' efforts and others' struggles and other sacrifices. So that's the advice, to ask ourselves, what is the lesson and how can I serve? How can I be of service? And if you can't make it better, don't make it worse. It's good to give suggestions, and we have a rule here in our little group that anyone can give room for improvement as long as we're willing to be part of the solution, because then it's constructive. Otherwise it's not constructive. At least not to make it worse, not to interfere. Last point? Yes, I thought you had half a hand up before.
Thank you, Prabhu, for the enlivening class. You were speaking of this, the story. You were speaking to your Guru Maharaj, and you asked, what's the greatest need in ISKCON? And he replied, to be Krishna conscious.
To become Krishna conscious.
To become Krishna conscious, and he said you'd like that news, and you'd like it, and you wouldn't like it. I was wondering if you can elaborate on that a little bit.
Well, hopefully I like it, because I try to become Krishna conscious, to be a devotee. But sometimes we have a certain agenda when we ask a question. It's called a loaded question. And we want to get our answer. And we just go around asking a million people till somebody finally says what I already knew. And then we can say such and such said, you know. I don't know if this ever happens to you. And that's not actually permissible. So that's why he said, you may not like it because you had something different in mind. That maybe you want some technical description on, you know, you do 3 of those, 2 of those, 5 of those, and then voila, boom, then you're there. But becoming Krishna conscious is not a fad. It's not a fashion. It's not a hairstyle, a tattoo, or kind of chadar, or the way you walk, or, you know. It's being on Krishna's timeline. is being willing to do Krishna's service in whichever capacity that Krishna deems us fit to serve. Grantaraj Srimad Bhagavatam ki,
Jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki,
Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki,
Haribo.
Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Kripasindubhya evacha, Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namah.